All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little San Francisco Giants video. We haven't done a ton on the Giants this year, but man, they are starting to heat up and they are now worthy of a little dialogue, in my opinion. Let's talk a little bit about them. What a weekend it was for the Giants at Dodger Stadium. Giants are now 39 and 32. They're 3.5 games behind the upstart Arizona Diamondbacks, and they are in front of the Dodgers. That's right. Giants now in second place in the NL West. They just swept the Dodgers in LA and going 6-0 on the road trip. And the Giants overall have won 7 in a row. So let's talk a little bit about this Giant team and how they're doing it. First of all, let's take a look at them. They're 18 and 17 at home, but they're 21 and 15 on the road. And that has been a huge, huge part of this thing is the Giants have done it on the road. They've won 9 in a row now on the road. And if the season ended today, your Giants, my Giants, our Giants would be in the playoffs, and they'd be the NL wild card, number 2 NL wild card if the season ended right now. So how are they doing it? Are they winning a bunch of close games? Not really. Are they dominating their division? Not really. The Giants are 7 and 8 in one-run games, so they're still under 500 in one-run games. It's not like they're winning all these close games, and they're only 8 and 7 against the NL West. Where they've beaten up teams is they're crushing the NL Central right now. They're 13 and 7 against the NL Central. The other surprise for the Giants is they're really doing it against left-handed pitching. They're 27 and 26 against righties, but they're 12 and 6 against left-handed pitching. And if you had told me, I was in Scottsdale in March, if you had told me that Giant team was going to be able to be 12 and 6 against left-handed pitching through 18 games against lefties, I would have said no way. But man, Casey Schmidt, Patrick Bailey, Luis Matos recently, Mitch Haniger, Austin Slater, these guys have really stepped up. There's a lot of their right-handed hitters, and their Giants have been really good against left-handed pitching. Now, let's look at their statistical profile. The Giants are only 13th in major leagues in batting average offensively, but they're 8th in on-base percentage, pretty good, 10th in slugging, 8th in OPS. They're not a fast team. They're 27th in stolen bases. Could you imagine where the Giants would be if they actually had some speed? 11th in walks, to their hitters, 28th in strikeouts. So they still strike out way, way, way too much. They're 8th in home runs, 28th in strikeouts. That's not good. I mean, you'd rather see them. I mean, the 8th in home runs is fine, but 28th in strikeouts is not what you want. 11th in total bases. On the mound, they're 8th in ERA, but they're 1st in saves. The Giants bullpen has been kicking butt. We'll talk more about that in a second. They're also middle of the pack in quality starts. They're 5th in fewest home runs allowed. They've allowed the 2nd fewest walks. So their pitchers are not walking guys. They're 9th in earned runs allowed. They're defensively, they're 17th in defensive runs scored. It's really been an interesting season. They started off March and April. They went 11 and 16 in that first month. Then they bounced back in May, 17 and 12 in May. They're now 11 and 4 in the month of June and really playing some outstanding baseball. So how are they doing it? Well, one guy that has to be shouted out is Austin Slater. Slater's at 431. 431 for Austin Slater. And that's 484 against left-handed pitching. So he's crushing lefties. And there's always, if you're going to be a team that wins and goes to the playoffs, you're probably going to have some surprises. And the Giants have a few surprises. Thairo Estrada's played like an all-star. He's hitting 291 with 9 home runs and playing the hell out of second base. J.D. Davis, what a trade that was. Darren Ruff for J.D. Davis and 3 arms. The Giants have the 3 arms in their system coming up, and now J.D. Davis is establishing himself as a terrific player with the Giants. He's an Elk Grove guy, so he's a NorCal guy, and he's hitting 288. He's got 10 home runs. He's got an incredible arm at third base. He's come back from the ankle sprain that he had the other day relatively quickly. J.D. Davis is playing great. I mean, he really is. A terrific story. And then the biggest story is Lamont Wade Jr. Lamont Wade's hitting 279, but that doesn't tell the story. He's got a 416 on base percentage. That's like Barry Bonds-esque. Mix in 9 home runs and underrated defense, and Lamont Wade is a borderline all-star. Jock Peterson got off to a slow start, but man, he's hitting 394 in the month of June. Michael Conforto got off to a cold start in April, hitting 203 in the month. It hit 289 though in May, and has started to heat up. Mitch Haniger, against right-handed pitching, he's a 205 hitter, but against lefties, he's hitting 306, and that's been a big key. Brandon Crawford has started to heat it up, even though Crawford's had a really disappointing year, and it looks like he's at the end of his career. He's hitting 306 in the month of June. And how about this? With runners in scoring position on the season, Brandon Crawford's hitting 400 with runners in scoring position. But the real story, if you said, why are the Giants doing this? How are they doing this? It's the bullpen. Tyler Rogers has got a 1.60 ERA. Camilo Doval should be an all-star. He's got a 1.99 ERA. Taylor Rogers, Tyler's brother, the lefty that they brought in free agency, got bombed in April. He had a 7-point ERA in April, but if you look at what he's done since, he's been lights out. 0.98 ERA in May for Taylor Rogers. He's had 6 appearances in June. He's yet to allow a single run. So that's been a huge part. Those 3 guys have been huge in the pen. So has Brebbia. And then, the Giants also have gotten an awful lot out of Alex Cobb and Logan Webb and Anthony DeSclafani. Giants only have 25 quality starts on the year, but 24 of those 25 quality starts have come from Cobb, DeSclafani, and Logan Webb. So those guys are really doing a nice job. Now, Cobb's got an oblique injury. Doesn't think he's going to miss a lot of time. But, man, the Giants are really, if you look at them right now, they are an ace away from being real. Who could be their ace? A lot of talk about them trading for Marcus Stroman. A lot of mentions of Lucas Giolito. If I'm Farhan, there's no way I'm trading top-tier young prospects for rentals, that's for sure. But the Giants also have Kyle Harrison, who just went 5 innings for the first time at AAA. They've got Carson Whisenhunt at AA. Carson Whisenhunt throws mid-90s with one of the best changeups you're ever going to see. Friday on 95.7 The Game, I asked Farhan Zaidi about it. He says, Kyle Haynes called it a Bugs Bunny changeup. Farhan called it a plus pitch. You got to see this changeup from Carson Whisenhunt. Between the mid-90s fastball and that changeup, if that's all he had, the guy would be dirty. But he's got more pitches than that. And then you got Harrison from the left side, who is overpowering and looks like a true number one. Both those guys could be aces. So the Giants, to me, if you say what's been the turnaround, the bullpen's been huge. To me, if there's one thing that you can point to, it's the vibe that the young guys have given this team. If you look at the way this season has gone, the Giants, have gotten a lot out of their young guys. They called up Casey Schmidt on May the 9th. And really, if you look at since that point, this team has had a bounce in their step. And I don't know what it is exactly, if it's the youthful energy, the enthusiasm, the momentum of seeing the farm system produce big-time talent, or if it's just the fact that Casey Schmidt's a hell of a player. But he came up May 9th. Patrick Bailey was promoted on May the 19th. Luis Matos was just called up on June the 14th. That's a Gold Glove third baseman in Casey Schmidt, who's playing short and second right now, with J.D. Davis playing the hell out of third. Patrick Bailey has to be one of the great stories of the year. Patrick Bailey is the Giants catcher. It's not Joey Bart. It's Patrick Bailey. I'm not saying he's Buster Posey, but this guy's framing is amazing. Logan Webb trusts him to call all of his pitches. The throw out caught stealing of Mookie Betts at third base Friday night was one of the greatest throws I think I've seen from a Giants catcher going back to Posey. I mean, just threw an absolute pea and put it right on the bag for Schmidt to make the tag. Boom, boom, goodbye, Mookie. And then Matos has just been a huge shot in the arm for the Giants as well. But if you look at what they are, you've got Gold Glove defensive players. Matos Matos has been incredible. 7 runs scored in his first 4 games. I think Willie McCovey was the last Giant to do that. He's got a good batting eye. He plays good defense in center field. He's got power. He's got speed. He's hitting 333. Is it going to last? I don't know. I mean, the advanced scouting reports haven't gotten around the league yet on Matos. I'm sure they'll have many, many plans to slow him down, but he looks good. Schmidt's down to 266, but I mean, I still think he's holding his own. And then Bailey's hitting 304 with incredible defense. And let's just say it, between Matos and center, Bailey behind the plate, and Schmidt wherever you play him, the Giants have improved their up the middle defense a ton with those 3 call-ups. So the Giants are playing loose. They got a great pen. Doval's probably an all-star. Can they keep it going? I don't know if they got enough starting pitching to keep it going. But if they call up Kyle Harrison and Carson Wisenhunt and those guys deal, this team is going to be really scary. Giants also have Tyler Fitzgerald, who's a young shortstop, who's a very fast player that they're playing at AAA in the outfield a little bit as well. You may see Fitzgerald called up. So to me, it's a lot about the big question going forward is just, are they going to trade for a Marcus Stroman? Are they going to trade for a Lucas Giolito? Or are they going to bypass that and call up their own young aces and Kyle Harrison and Carson Wisenhunt? Giants probably, if you're looking at things objectively, need more starting pitching to get to the finish line and make it to the playoffs this year. But it could come from within. It could be Wisenhunt. It could be Harrison. And if they can somehow make a deal and pick up a big-time arm like a Stroman or a Giolito or a Shane Bieber or something like that, the Giants are going to be dangerous. Giants are going to be dangerous. And then you got L.A. down south with all kinds of rotation problems of their own and injuries everywhere you look. They're not quite the same team that they were a year ago, that's for sure. The Padres don't look like they have the right chemistry. Diamondbacks are a young team, but they're really being led by Merrill Kelly and Zach Gallen, the 2 starters at the top of the rotation. If those guys cool down, the Diamondbacks could tumble. So if you're a Giant fan right now, you're feeling good, and you should be feeling good because you know what? The kids have arrived. They've saved Farhan's bacon. They've saved Gabe's bacon. Those guys were going to get raked over the coals if this farm system didn't start to produce. And guess what? Just when they needed the farm system to step up and produce, they did. And they've had some sleeper years out of Slater, Estrada, J.D. Davis, Lamont Wade. We've seen Tyler and Taylor Rogers and Camilo Doval emerge in the bullpen. And it's really just, can the Giants either internally or externally come up with that 1 or 2 starting pitchers, difference-making starting pitchers to help them stay in the race and get into this postseason tournament. I'll say this: if there's one thing that is really, really special, is that Patrick Bailey is not just a good player; he's an excellent player. Offensively, defensively, he's clearly, he's like wise beyond his years. The veterans trust him. He calls an incredible game. He throws incredibly well. This guy looks terrific. What a pick. What a draft choice. So amazing story for the Giants as we sit here on, towards the last part of June. Matos is up. Bailey's up. Schmidt's up. Doval's an all-star, and they are a starting pitcher or 2 away from another playoff run. It's amazing how fast things change for the Giants. I saw them in the Cactus League. They didn't look this good. They didn't look bad, but they didn't look this good. And now they're playing, and I don't think it's an accident. I don't think it's not like they're playing way over their heads. They're not. They're just playing good ball every day. They got a great vibe. They got a good mix of young and old, and they're doing it. Hopefully they keep it going. All right, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of The Krug Show, and thanks to all of you for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.